Shalom, friends. It's the Kiva from Israel in 5, and I want to share with you a very special and important opportunity to help the children of Israel. The Jewish holiday of Purim is coming up very soon, and typically this is a time of joy, celebration, and unity. But for thousands of children around the country, this time has been replaced by fear, trauma, and uncertainty. Ever since October 7th, the lives of thousands of children have been turned upside down. And Mayor Panim wants to make sure that they can go into Purim with a big smile on their face and celebrate just like they have in the past and just like they deserve. If you go to israel5.org/donate, you can make a contribution that will make sure that the children of Israel have what they need and have what they deserve to fully celebrate this upcoming holiday of Purim. Mayor Panim is using donations to send out mishloach monot, gifts of food, to set up holiday parties in their centers around the country, to organize meals for families that need it, and also give emergency funding to families that are struggling. Please go to israel5.org/donate and open up your heart in any way you can, in the best way that you can, to make sure that the children of Israel who have been dealing with so much these past 16 plus months since the beginning of this war against the terror organization Hamas, make sure that they can celebrate with joy, with celebration, and with a big smile on their face. You can bring that smile to their face by going to israel5.org/donate or clicking on the link below. And let's make sure all of us together that the children of Israel remember what joy and celebration is. All the best, my friends, and be well. In this week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, we continue to learn about the different components and aspects of the Mishkan, the tabernacle that the children of Israel used to serve God in the desert, as well as spiritual lessons embedded in these that we can take into our everyday lives. Shalom, my friends. This is Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, we want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. This week's Torah portion begins with learning about the menorah, learning about the olive oil that was used in the menorah, that was lit every single day in their tabernacle. And we learned something very, very interesting about the oil that was used. Obviously, this oil came from pressed olives, but it wasn't regular olive oil. Only the first drop that came out of the olive upon being pressed would be used for the menorah in the tabernacle. The rest of the oil could be used for other things that took place in the tabernacle, but for the menorah, which was such an important vessel and had such a significant place and purpose in the tabernacle, only the purest of the purest of the pure oil could be used. This is actually one of the reasons why in the Hanukkah story, it took an entire week to get more oil, because it was such a laborious process to make this kind of oil at this level of purity. What does this teach us? What can we learn from this? I think something that we can take into our everyday lives is that there are certain things in our lives that demand, that require, that necessitate the highest level of whatever it is we're doing, whether it's the highest level of concentration, the highest level of focus, the highest level of investment, of putting our time and energy into something. Whatever that is, there are those things in our lives that we need only the highest, only the best will do, the best of the best. For other pieces and parts of our lives, all right, we can get away with the middle of the road, but there are those things, right? And usually those things are the things that are most important to us, the things that are closest to our heart, whether they're part of our family life or work life or other things, that we really need to step up and give it our all, give it our best. Don't settle for anything less. And the menorah, right, was this vessel in the temple that did not settle for anything less, had to have the top of the top quality of oil. We also learned in this week's Torah portion about the bigadim, the clothing, the different garments that the Kohanim, the priests, would wear while serving in the tabernacle and later on in the temple in Jerusalem. And they're all different kinds of garments. Every Kohen, the regular Kohen, would wear 4 different garments, the regular priest, and the high priest would wear 8 garments when serving. And the Torah goes into fine detail about these garments, right? What they look like, what they're made of, what colors, where they're put on the Kohen's body. You might think, like, why would the Torah care so much about like clothing, right? But it's connected to this idea that everything matters. Everything's part of who we are and what we do in this world. And even our physical clothing that we put on the outside of our body says something about us. It says something about who we are in the world and what we're here to do. Right? Even our physical clothing can have spiritual meaning, which is really, really powerful. In fact, the high priest wore this band across the top of his forehead that said Kodesh LaHashem, that said holy to God. Right? So that he would always remember, and it served as a reminder so that he would always remember that he is in a very special position, that he is a very special person, right? Um, and that as a result, because of this, needs to always remember to be holy, always remember to have holy thoughts, holy actions, holy deeds, right? And this is a piece of the clothing that he wore that was meant to help him remember that. Right, so we see that the clothing that the priest wore was very, very special, very, very important, and was very, very connected to the holy work, the holy service that they were doing in their tabernacle. One last thing I want to share with you about clothing, actually, is the high priest wore this long robe, and at the bottom of the robe had these bells on it, right? And as he walked, people would basically hear that he was coming, right? These bells would kind of jingle a little bit, and you could hear that he was in the area. And the Torah basically says that these bells are on there so that when he comes into the Holy of the Holies, which he only does once a year, his entrance will be announced, right? God will know, so to speak, that he's coming. But it's kind of a funny thing, right? God knows everything. God doesn't need the high priest to have bells um, on his garment to let him know that the high priest is coming. God will know anyway, right? So what's the deal here? What's the lesson here? And the idea is that yes, of course, God would know, but still, it's the proper thing. It's proper conduct. It's the right behavior to announce one's coming before entering into any new space, right? You enter into a house, you're not going to walk into the house without knocking. You're going to go into a room with a closed door. You're going to knock on the door, right? And so if the high priest is going to the Holy of the Holies and announcing his entrance to God, and God knows everything, how much more so in our everyday lives should we take this behavior and this teaching and apply it, right? And so it's taking something really grand and great, the high priest on Yom Kippur, announcing his entrance to God, and taking that into the minutiae of our lives, right? To every day. Right? We walk into a house, walk into a room, announce our entering, our coming, right? Don't let it be a shock or a surprise to people on the other side of the door. And that's the level that the Torah really wants us to take these lessons, to really the day after day, the daily kind of actions that we fill our days with, to really bring that awareness, that attention, that sensitivity, that spirituality into it, to really make our lives into something really special and really holy. So those are some of the things we learned from this week's Torah portion, which wishing everyone a good rest of the week and a Shabbat Shalom.